Hi, Gracepoint. It's great to be with you today. My name's Michael Bate. I'm pastor at Woonoona Baptist, which is just north of Wollongong, and friends of Rob and Marguerite. And I just want to begin by honouring them as great pastors and leaders, not only to you guys at Gracepoint, but to the wider body. And Karen and I feel really privileged to have known and sat under their ministry. And so we just want to say thank you, Rob and Marguerite, but also just to remind you, Gracepoint, that you are served by wonderful leaders, and we want to encourage you to love them, serve them, never underestimate them, but honour them in every way as they love, care and serve you. You know, today I just want to speak quite briefly about the idea of meeting together as one of the big rocks that you would consider putting in your life in 2021. In Hebrews 10:25, it says, "Don't get out of the habit of meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching." You know, over recent months, our circumstances have led us to get out of the habit of meeting together. Our Church Online is awesome, and we use Church Online. We think it's a great platform for this season and beyond. Church Online is awesome as an alternative, but there is something more that happens when we gather and meet together. Church Online, like meeting together, feeds us and allows us to be encouraged. It allows us to connect and to pray and to worship and to open the Word of God. That's fantastic. But the writer of Hebrews suggests there is a wider function to meeting together. And that wider function is that we might encourage one another. We need to be fed and encouraged, but we also need to feed and encourage others. Paul talks about this idea in 1 Corinthians when he speaks of the church as a body. He says each member has a different gift, a different function to bring to the body, and that without all of those coming together, we are less for it. And so in this image of the body, there's this great idea of dependence on one another, that God uses all the members in order to bring the fullness of the body to life. So if you don't bring your gift of encouragement, if you don't bring your gift of service, if you don't bring that word from God, if you don't come and share what He is teaching you, if you don't come and pray for healing for others, if you don't bring your faith to the meeting, then we miss out and we are less for it. Paul speaks about this idea in Corinthians. He speaks about it in Ephesians. Peter speaks about it in 1 Peter. The writer of Hebrews speaks about it. And I believe they all speak about this idea because they understand that God's design is that faith is done in community. Faith is not meant to be an individual thing. Faith is done in community. Faith is done in community as we support one another, love one another, encourage one another to all that He has for us. As we look over the scriptures, we see that God moves in family groups. He moves amongst tribes and amongst nations because He uses this community setting in order that He would speak through different individuals at different times, bringing different giftings in order that everyone would be built up and encouraged together. So as you think about the big rocks, the things that you're going to put in your life for 2021, I want to encourage you, even to urge you to Hebrews 10:25. Don't get out of the habit of meeting together, guys. Don't get out of the habit of meeting together, both in the big group, the church setting, but secondly in the small group, connect group, Bible study, meeting with like-minded friends of faith who will encourage you, who you can share your struggles and difficulties, and they can encourage you to press on towards the prize that Christ has for you, but also to be able to share your joys of what God is doing in your life and to encourage others. Don't get out of the habit of meeting together, because faith is done in community. Make meeting together a habit of 2021, not just so that you can receive and be encouraged, but that you can also give and encourage others, because you have been called to be a minister of the gospel, a priest in the royal priesthood of all believers. We need you. We're dependent on you. That's the way God has set this up. Faith is done in community. So let's make meeting together a habit, a big rock of 2021. As you go through your time of Saturate, of prayer and fasting, we will be praying for you, praying that you meet with God, that you receive all that He has for you, and that this would be a time of refreshment that sets you up for all that He has for you in 2021. God bless.